embrace AI because especially generative AI is bringing so much intelligence. And, I think I quoted our CEO that said, AI is not going to take your job, but someone using AI could take your job.
Hello and welcome to the Retail Podcast. Now, it's really graced because Azita Martin, who is the lead or president or
Vice president.
Vice president. I always keep promoting people. The CEO of NVIDIA, the vice president of retail, global retail for AI and NVIDIA, was the keynote kickoff speaker at NRF on day one. And as some of you know, I've already given you my thoughts on where we're going with AI. Basically, I position the fact that last year was about the use case. This year, we're hearing about AI transformation, and Satya has already spoken about how the SaaS models are going away and there's an AI layer that's coming on top. But hey, you're not here to listen to me. We're here to listen to you. So if you don't mind taking us through because at your keynote, you sort of set the scene about what's happening in the world of AI and the industry, pretty much from a global context, and then you sort of brought it to what it means to NVIDIA. So I was just wondering if you don't mind sharing that with the audience.
Generative AI is now at a stage where it's moving from pilots to become real. And the best way I would describe it is it's almost like an AI factory that takes your data, which is like the raw material in that factory, and it's generating digital intelligence in the form of AI agents. And these AI agents are making your employees more productive. They're delivering intelligence that just enables your company to be much more productive. So now what companies are doing is fine-tuning these models with their data, whether it's PDFs, documents, customer data, and images and videos, and be able to create these digital agents that are helping your employees become more productive. And so an example would be a shopping advisor, which we're going to show to you a little bit later. And this shopping assistant is almost like replicating the knowledge of all your best sales associate and having that available 24/7 at scale on your e-commerce side to help your customers find exactly what they're looking for.
What's been top of mind for the retailers that are coming to talk to you? What are they saying as like their top of mind for 2025?
It ranges from everywhere where, you have early adopters and you also have companies that it's like, it has to be proven by 5 other companies or 10 other companies before I would do it. And I would certainly say that this is so much more real than e-commerce was in the year 2000. And the companies that are going to adopt it early are going to absolutely have a competitive advantage over the ones that are going to be the laggards.
Absolutely agree.
And so the people that came to see some of our technology during NRF, I think range from, commitments from the very top that, we want to, in the stores prevent shrink or have a, more optimized layout to make it easier for customers to find what they're looking for and be able to check out faster. And that's all computer vision technology. All the way to how can you help us improve throughput in our distribution centers and how to make fulfillment a lot faster in our fulfillment centers. All the way to, what are the top generative AI use cases that are going to bring business value to the companies. And one of the areas that I highly recommend, even though less than 20% of retail revenue comes from e-commerce, I think generative AI has completely reinvented e-commerce, and there's an opportunity to leverage it to improve search, to have these shopping assistants on the website, and to even create advertisement that retailers can make revenue from by selling it to to the consumer packaged good companies. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to increase revenue leveraging generative AI on e-commerce and mobile side.
So it sounds like there's a real mix of generate new revenue for retail media, help the customers have a better experience through the automation and bringing, and you said this earlier on, bringing all of that knowledge of your sales to the customers. In terms of NVIDIA's focus in the retail space, I'm curious about where you see it going.
On NVIDIA, most companies know us for our GPUs. Our GPUs is what companies like OpenAI, Perplexity, Meta are using to train these real large language models and so forth. But NVIDIA is actually an accelerated computing company. And what that means is not only our hardware, which involves our GPUs, our networking, even our own CPUs.
Oh, wow.
But on top of it, we have a whole set of acceleration libraries and our application frameworks. And basically, those acceleration library and application frameworks are this acceleration software that developers use to build these AI applications.
Okay, got you.
And to build and to deploy, right? And so we're really a platform for building AI applications. And the blueprint that our CEO talked about during his CES keynote is basically step-by-step a workflow of how do you build a particular Gen AI application using our platform with open source models.
Got you.
So it's got step-by-step instructions. How do you do fine-tuning? How do you use RAG? How do you do the different components of building a Gen AI application? And it even includes the code. And so that's what helps developers build these applications a lot faster and ensure that their performance from an inference perspective, which is the responsiveness of the generative AI application, is the fastest and the most cost efficient.
So when you look to the future, when you look to the next 2 or 3 years, what for you do you see, and from what you've taken from the show, what do you think will be the sort of winning focus areas in AI? Is it in the business? Is it in front of house? Is it at back house? I'm just curious on your opinion.
I mean, I would say it's almost everywhere, but an area that's benefiting the most from AI is supply chain.
Got you.
And there, NVIDIA is really pioneering 2 things. One is called physics AI. And physics AI is AI that understands physics. It understands dimensions, volume, and so forth. But more importantly, it understands how people and objects behave in a digital twin of a real space. So it allows you to create a physically accurate digital representation of a store or a distribution center, simulate different layouts, and be able to predict accurately how people and objects behave. And so that's being used for optimizing throughput in distribution centers, in fulfillment centers. It's used for optimizing layout of stores for higher revenue. And so that's physics AI. The second thing that I talked about was physical AI. And physical AI is basically AI for the physical world. And it's a combination of computer vision, which is driven by smart cameras, robots, and models that understand physics. So it's a combination of our Omniverse simulation software, our robotics technology, and our computer vision technology. And it's all used to be able to train robots in a simulation environment. And the reality of it is that in the physical world, you cannot even estimate how many situations can come up. But in the digital world, you can actually simulate thousands of scenarios and be able to train those robots to behave a certain way during different situations. So I think we showed a video during the keynote that showed that an incident happened in one of the aisles and a bunch of boxes fell. And so there, what was happening is the smart cameras were providing perception.
Yeah.
So it's like you're looking down, the AI is looking down to see what is going on.
Yeah.
And then you have an agentic agent that is now has seen this and is instructing another agent to reroute the forklift that was coming to go through a different aisle in order to ensure that, no safety situation happens, right? So that's an example of physical AI, which is for the physical world. And I think a good way to describe it is NVIDIA actually announced our Cosmo Nematron foundation model. And that's basically a foundation model that has been trained with billions of hours of video. And it is to the physical world what ChatGPT has been to text and language.
Yeah. I've been in technology all my life and I'm like struggling to keep up because my brain is exploding with what NVIDIA have announced and where you're taking it. If you could go back in time and tell a younger you to come into this world, I think you mentioned your career.
I was an aerospace engineer.
That was it. You were an aerospace engineer and then you sort of shifted to NVIDIA and you weren't really meant to end up in retail. But anyway, my question being, if it's okay to ask you about empowerment in terms of I'm looking at my career, what would be some sort of words of wisdom that you would, if you could go back to a younger self?
I think that really generative AI has democratized AI in many ways. So I want to encourage, maybe you don't need to code, but you can still use generative AI to become so much smarter. So I want to encourage the younger generation to embrace AI because especially generative AI is bringing so much intelligence. And, I think I quoted our CEO that said, AI is not going to take your job, but someone using AI could take your job. And so I want the younger generation to embrace AI and use it to be a lot more productive. At the end of the day, I would say, even if you're in science, you got to love what you do.
Yeah.
So my first recommendation is really look around you, look inside, really understand what your passion is. Learn as much as you can about what's happening in that area that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Choose the top companies in that and aim high, aim big. Don't let your insecurity or your fear hold you back.
Yeah.
And get out of your comfort zone. Volunteer for roles that maybe you don't meet 100% of the qualification, but if you even meet 60% of it, I'm sure you're smart enough to learn the rest of it and surround yourself by super smart people, because the more you get out of your comfort zone, the more you're going to grow and the more you're going to learn.
I love it. And what a beautiful way to end the interview. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Alex. I'm Cynthia Countouris. I'm the Director of AI for Retail CPG at NVIDIA. As Azita was talking to you about our AI blueprint for retail shopping assistants, I'm here to show you a little bit about it and answer some questions. So, we're demonstrating the AI assistant for a number of different categories. One is fashion. The other is furniture. Two really interesting categories, but also I can talk to you about grocery as another example. So let me go ahead and start with fashion as an example. Now, one of the things that consumers have really been struggling with is they've had to change their behavior to an e-commerce site. I need to think about what are the keywords I need to search. And the reality is that's not the way we work, as human beings. It's, what are the upcoming fashion trends for this spring? Hey, do you have any purses or shoes to go with this skirt? That's really the way we work. So, I'm going to do an example here of I have an upcoming event that I'm going to, a lunch, and I'd like a recommendation for a dress or skirt. So, okay, Alex, as you can see, I asked for a dress or skirt appropriate for an outdoor event, and it brought back a dress and skirt, but since it gave me a skirt, it also gave me some blouse ideas as well. Now, typically in a search, you come back with just the products, and then I need to start digging in, double-click on the product, go and see more information, and then come back out, double-click again. So the beautiful thing with the shopping assistants is I can now just ask questions. And so with that, let me go ahead and show you how that works. So I like the skirt, but of course the natural question is, does it require dry cleaning? So typos and all.
It's AI.
Hey, it understands. So here we've got some great results coming back. I didn't have to go in and look and hunt for that information. It's able to go and search for that information, bring it back. It transforms it from my interacting with the e-commerce site to I'm working with your stylist or your store associate, just really naturally. The next piece that's great is then being able to ask multiple questions, all right? Or being able to say, oh, I saw these pair of shoes online. Do you have something like that? So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. It's really an image search. So let me go ahead and transition and show you what that might look like. So I saw these pair of shoes online. They were really fabulous. And I want to see if you have something similar for me, because of course they were a little expensive. So do you have any shoes like these? And so in the background, we're going and saying, okay, what are the attributes of this image? Let me see what other products in the catalog are similar to this. It could be red shoes. It could be strappy shoes. It could be shoes with embellishments. And in fact, you can see that's what we've got. We have one pair of shoes. We've got something strappy. Now, this shoe has an ankle component. It has embellishment components. So I have ankle components and embellishment components as well. So it's done a really nice job of finding similar things that also go with that skirt, right? I can then say, okay, I like these shoes, but how high are the heels? What's the price? What's the comfort level? How do people review them and rate them? So all of those, all that information, I can just ask naturally. The next piece that I probably would like to show is the ability for integration, because this is a nice experience, but the next piece is, well, I want to be able to add to cart, right? So it's really simple.
The e-commerce website of...
This is an e-commerce
website that I would have. And so the images there, are they catalog images as the retailer provides?
These are catalog images that are in your retail catalog right now. So we're keeping it very simple. I can do an example, though, of visualization, right? And I'm happy to show that. And I'm doing that in a furniture example. So the other piece is being able to search for multiple things at once, right? You can go ahead and search for, I want purses and shoes to go with the skirt. Do you have any tops and to go with the skirt? All of that is just very natural. So Azita may have mentioned a furniture demo where you're visualizing furniture in your room, because furniture is obviously considered purchase. There's challenges to, oh, I like it, but how's it going to look in my room? The price point on that is lower, right? But I'm not sure about it, if it's going to work, is being able to play and actually visualize it. So let's go ahead and let's transition to that next. Okay, so as a consumer, I used your mobile app and I scanned my room to create a 3D room. So we're going to go ahead and ask to pull that information up. So
I'm going to go inside.
So what it's doing is it's saying, okay, this is Cynthia. She's got a living room. Let's take that 3D scan of a living room and we're putting it into Omniverse, NVIDIA's 3D collaboration platform. So this is a 3D scan of my room. This is not a 2D photo of my room.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have objects in here. I have a couch. I have a table. I have a chair, for example. And so the first thing is, obviously, I don't have a cohesive look, right? I want to now change my room and make it cohesive. So do you have any modern couches? Let's start there. And very similar to the fashion example, it's going to go back. It's going to bring back some recommendations for me. It's going to give me information about those couches. And so here we have 3 couches, right? I've got something that's very architectural. I have something that's a little softer. I like that one better. And then I've got a curved couch. That's interesting, but I'm not sure about it. Well, the one I like, that modern sectional, is on the high end for me in price. The one that I don't like, fine, it's outside of my price range. And then there's the curved couch that's much more affordable for me. So let me go ahead and explore it. I might not necessarily explore it or be deterred, because of price points at this point. So let me go ahead and just explore replacing my couch with the curved couch. Now notice I'm not giving the product name or anything like that, right? The generative AI, the AI agent, is understanding it And then it's going ahead and giving command back to table.
Wow.
I've got a database, right, of the 3D assets for my furniture.
Yeah.
So I'm replacing the couch that was in there with this 3D asset of furniture. So I can see it. What is it doing? Oh, and now it's really transformed my room. It's making it more curved instead of square, but I'm still not crazy about it.
Yeah, we
Right?
could do better.
Right, we can do better. So let me try that other couch that's, kind of on the high end, but let me try that instead.
This is
Right, so here's something that I may not have explored it because of price points.
yeah.
Right? And here we go. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I really like that. But I am going to need something round in the room. And I did see a table that I liked. Again, I'm using an example that's outside of my price range.
Yeah.
Or I just want to find something like this fast.
Okay.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've uploaded the image. Do you have a table like this? Now, I'm not asking coffee table like this, nesting coffee table like this, marble top coffee table like this. So I think Azita may have talked to you about the ability to search on images. And not only did it give me the coffee table, but it also gave me some recommendations for chairs, right, as a part of this. So love it. It came really close to what I'm looking for. So and there we go. All right, I love it. That gives me some of the roundness, for the room. Okay. And you can imagine going further. So let me go ahead. I think I talked about doing a multi-query search. Let me show you what that was like. Because now that I got my couch and my table, right, maybe I want floor lamps, right, and alternative chairs or something of that nature, right? Now, more than likely, in this scenario, it's going to give me similar chairs back. But let's see what it does. Okay, came back with 3 floor lamps as different examples that would work in this environment, as well as 1 chair that it really highly recommended. Yep. I'm not so crazy about the floor lamps. I'm not so sure about the chair, but let me go ahead and explore it. Right, this is something that you're putting control in the hands of the consumer to explore and visualize, to then say, oh yeah, I do love it, or yeah, that didn't work out. So I hope this is giving you a sense of just the power of generative AI and AI agents for retail shopping assistants. So I'm sure the next question is, how do I find out more? So you come to NVIDIA.com and there's a full page on retail shopping assistants. So we created an AI blueprint that includes an AI agent. It includes Nemo components for guardrails, a pointer to Llama 3.3, 70B, a large language model, being able to rank, being able to understand imagery, an accelerated database, vector database. All of this is available in the blueprint for people to explore, try it out, import your own product catalog information and imagery, play with it, start to change out components that make sense for you, and then ultimately get to the point where you might want to deploy it for yourself.
Where do people start?
A good question. The place to start is sign up to be notified. We have an upcoming package Rev launchable blueprint, so it'll be available for your teams to click a button. It'll be unpacked and put on a cloud environment for them to start playing with immediately. They don't need to know how to download and install it. We're making it as simple as possible for your teams to get started. You can also work with a number of our partners as well.